Liar. You gonna lie to me again?
You guys are frozen for me visually. I can hear you though.
I can see y'all just fine.
Mm.
Interesting.
I'll just give my computer a minute to think, because maybe it'll be better.
There it is.
All right. Yeah. Okay. We are live. Not sure why it didn't let me do that the first time. Better get this out from between my teeth now, or it'll drive me nuts all episode.
Yeah, you guys are still visually frozen.
It's interesting because it means they froze right as I hit go live.
Well, not on YouTube, but in Zencaster.
No, that's what I mean. Is like you said, I went frozen right as I hit go live.
No, she said that before you hit that.
Maybe leave Zencaster, come back in.
Is that going to mess you up?
Refresh it. It might mess Jordan up.
It won't mess me up.
Okay. Yay, you move again. So there we go.
No, she didn't buy it. Okay.
No, I could tell.
Oh, were you pretending to be frozen?
Yeah, I was doing it very still. One of the podcasts I was watching, one of the guys did it, and they just stared at him. But they was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I was trying to see how to get you." It's like, dude, you have a monitor behind you that plays video games. We know, like, that's not. And he's like, I forgot that was back there. I'm just gonna be honest.
One of the most brilliant things like that I've seen. Do you know who Dan Povenmire is?
Yeah.
So he is one of the
only
creators
because of you,
of Phineas and Ferb. He's also he's written a lot. He wrote a lot of SpongeBob scripts. He's been in animation for a long time. Anyway, so one thing that he did during like all of the where Zoom ruled all was he actually had a pre-recorded video behind himself of him coming into the room and acting like he was interrupting the meeting, and he turned and was like, "Dude, I'm in a meeting. Go away." He's like, "Oh, sorry." It's kind of brilliant.
That's awesome.
Bill might. Do you remember Disguised Toast?
Yeah.
He had an alert, or not an alert, but like a thing he could do where he clearly like recorded himself on a green screen, and he told chat he had a twin brother.
Oh gosh.
And is one time it's like that people caught on pretty quick, but he so he'd come and he'd lean in and he'd like look at the monitor and then look down at him and shake his head. And so it was like, I don't know what to do. Hey, twin brother, what do you think I should do? And he always purposely like looked so it looked like he was looking at himself and come. Yeah, I guess I won't do that either. Like, just
nice.
The dedication to the bit, I love.
Yeah.
And this now should work. Yes. All right. I am now in the ready position.
Hang on a sec.
Do 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 do. Oh wait. Cosmere thing of the week.
Sorry, what was that?
I said, oh wait, Cosmere thing of the week.
Oh, have you not updated that?
It's more. I didn't because I gotta reformat the window for every single one.
Right.
I just realized.
You have anyone in chat?
I don't see anybody, no.
There we go.
Hey, Dysgraphic, welcome.
Oh, just sneeze.
How you doing, Dysgraphic? How do we sound?
Hello, hello.
You all hear me?
Oh my goodness. Ah,
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
it's one of those. I almost sneezed and then I didn't, and now my nose is just like.
Oh, I remember there was one time where I was getting ready to sneeze, and just as I was about to, my sister goes, "Bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you," and it didn't come out. I was so mad at her.
It's like, no, just want it done. So it's just.
Okay, I guess we're not getting a response on how we sound.
Dysgraphic, we need you. You're the only one there.
Sound check.
Otherwise, we're shouting into the ether.
You're not going to throw a drowning man a lifesaver?
Oh no,
Oh gosh, I'm sorry to hear that.
that sucks.
Jeez. Sorry, man.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Okay, you ready, Jordan?
I'm always ready.
You ready, Amy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, where there's always another secret.
Welcome back, Sixers, to another episode of the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. This is episode 180. Today is January 27th, 2025. I'm Bill, and I am joined, as always, by my prognosticatory co-hosts, Amy and Jordan. Welcome.
That's a big word.
It's a
It
great
is.
word.
That's a $3 word if I've ever heard it.
Oh yeah.
$16. Maybe I got ripped off. Before we get started, we do want to remind you that the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies is not a spoiler-free podcast. That means that if there is something in the Cosmere you haven't read and are worried about hearing spoilers, you might want to go read those first, then come back and join the discussion. Because tonight we are talking about the most recent release within the Cosmere. That's right, we are talking about Wind and Truth, and specifically we're going to be looking at the prophecies that have shown up in the Stormlight Archive with from the death rattles, the diagram, and wherever else they may show up, and talking about what new context we may have for them after having finished Wind and Truth. For those of you who listen to the podcast recordings or watch the videos on YouTube after the fact, we do want to remind you that it's possible for listeners to interact with us live via chat as we record each episode at www.youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. We record episodes every other Monday night, starting at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, so please join us and take an active part in the discussion. The show is made possible by the support of our listeners and patrons. It will, of course, continue to be free, but if you want to help us out, head over to patreon.com/Cosmere Studies. Even pledging $1 or $2 per episode really helps us out as we continue to work to improve the show. Patrons get immediate access to our Discord channel where you can talk about the show and the Cosmere with other listeners. We got a great community with a lot of great discussions, and you'll also get early access to bonus episodes, exclusive access to other bonus content, and other good stuff. How y'all doing?
Doing okay.
Yeah?
Just
Can't
hanging in
complain.
there.
I am tired. I'm very tired. I made tacos for my nephews and nieces last night, which was fun. So
They were
was
delicious.
enjoyable. I started playing Elden Ring and have realized I don't know that I am good enough to play this game. Because it is just pain. I have not beaten a single boss other than the one that was in the training area, which you're supposed to beat. So
I have not even tried that game because I can tell that I would not enjoy it.
yeah, basically, it just makes me feel bad about myself.
It's
But
working then.
From what I can tell, it's performing as designed. So.
Yeah, that's not a bug. It's a feature.
So we'll see on that. Yeah, anything else exciting going on?
I have my Mando vest done.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah, I had to have another guy help me sew it because my machine broke 5 leather needles. And
Not awesome.
so we used his can sew a saddle leather machine to do it. So
Okay then.
it worked a lot better.
Jeez.
I've never tried to sew a saddle. I've sewed buttons before, but that's about the extent of my sewing prowess.
This machine is heavy duty. It's scary.
Indeed.
Do not bounce.
Do not attempt to bounce. Oh man. Well,
Yeah.
fun stuff. Well, Jordan, how are we doing on YouTube?
We are at about where we were last week, around 3,200 hours. So just keep on listening to the episodes, gang. Help us
we
out.
Appreciate it. Y'all are amazing. All right, then. Well, let's move on into the Cosmere Thing of the Week. Jordan, can you bring up the Cosmere Thing of the Week?
Oh, it's up.
Okay. Well, this one is a pretty cool picture I found on r/imaginary Cosmere, which is a fan art subreddit.
Which somehow I didn't know about.
Yeah, I introduced Jordan to that for the first time.
And I'm just trying to figure out how I didn't know about this already.
But anyway, this is just an awesome image. It's Steris. She's firing the experimental shotgun off of the train. This is by Marie Magny. And I love the style, the composition.
It looks like official artwork.
It's so good.
It looks pretty.
Like if you told me this was in like the card game or something, I wouldn't blink at that.
It may be. I don't know if it's from somewhere else, but it's at least here. And again, the artist is Marie Magny.
It's one of my favorite moments in Era 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, Renette had built up how, all right, I built this gun for you while you're tapping. And then he looks and he sees her with oh no.
You're not tapping. So this is going to be interesting.
It ends up blowing her off the train, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, he has to go. He has to go rescue her. Well, because the thing is, look, Wax compared to your average woman of that age, just his normal size is
heavier.
That's gonna have a kick.
Well, and Wax compared to your normal skimmer, would probably be.
Well, because he's just so adept at it.
Yeah.
And she hasn't shot many guns, right?
Yeah. It'd be one thing if this was Marasi, because at least Marasi's, she's a marksman. And so she would know how to brace herself against a gun and stuff like that. Yeah. And this has just launched her straight off the train.
Well, and I was saying he's a savant in steel pushing. I don't know that we've even talked about if there are ferrochemical savants, but whether even if he's not a savant, he's very, very, very practiced and knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's just a great image.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out.
Well done.
All right, well, let's move on into Sanderson news. Brandon is finally back from his Christmas vacation. This was a couple weeks ago, so it's not like he's just barely getting back. But as of a week ago, his pre-writing for Ghost Bloods is at 25%. And he is planning on writing all 3 of the Ghost Bloods novels together over the course of the next 3 years. So you can expect a whole lot of updates on those books.
Oh, I'm looking forward to those beings.
The other thing he said, the only thing he's planning to possibly write in between those books is the Horneater novella, which is about Rock, which we're kind of wondering what Rock has been up to for a while now.
What he's been cooking.
We haven't seen him since the end of Oathbringer.
So we have concerns.
So and he was going off expecting to, give up his life for having.
Yeah. I'm hoping he just
Amaranth.
plans a revolution or something instead. It'll be fine.
So it'll be very interesting to see what's gone on in the past indeterminate period of time.
Yeah.
And so he is planning on releasing Ghost Bloods 1 for Dragonsteel Nexus 2028. So
3 years.
So 4 years.
Yes, 4. Yeah, counting this year.
We're barely into 25. So
He's thrown.
2025 is almost done already. Are you kidding?
dude, no,
It's only been 2 weeks.
I did not lose another year.
Oh man.
Isn't the end of January basically the end of the year?
It's really not.
It's a rounding error, I'm sure.
Oh man.
No. In all honesty, at this, he says that's the only one he plans on doing, but we're gonna get stealth dropped. It's gonna be like, oh, and by the way, here's the Mythos book or something.
Plans on. This is the grandma who's using her chopsticks wrong and accidentally knits a scarf. So, and Brandon's like, I'm not planning on doing this, but oops, I made a book.
Oops. Here you go.
Oops, all secret projects.
So
I still, that's my long-term prediction meta is I think we're gonna at some point get Stormlight secret history.
I mean, that's kind of what the novellas are.
Yeah. It's just I think we're gonna get a secret history, sort of a similar to either it's Thadakar or it's Yatil, or just some or not, doesn't necessarily even need to be a Ghost Blood, but just someone who is
Feltz.
Yeah, you know what? Gavinor actually wouldn't be a bad one because we do kind of need a
closure.
Yeah, fill in that gap.
I don't know that I want to see that though.
Well, no, that's where I'm like.
No, but that's the thing. I don't think that's what it would be. I don't think it'd be what he did in the spiritual realm. I think it'd be him in the intermediate years.
In between book 5 and 6.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, and so we would get some flashback to what that is, obviously. Just as we got some intel from Kelsier's background in secret history.
Interesting.
That Gavinor's an interesting idea, but just I don't know. I'm just predicting we'll get that there'll be someone who he's like, I really feel like they need this part of the story or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not enough for its own book, but if it's a focus, it works.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
All right. Well, Moment Zero, he's been working on revisions for those, but they've kind of stalled, so they're still at 95%. Songrise, which is the title of book 2 of the Skyward Legacy that Jancy Patterson is writing, is at 8%. Sorry, I misread my notes. Also, have y'all ever heard of StoryCon?
No.
It sounds familiar for some reason.
This is one I'd never heard of, but Brandon said his team is going to be going to that. It's in Salt Lake City at the
That's
Salt
why
Palace Warehouse.
I've seen billboards for it before.
Okay. Yeah, so we're the same place where Dragonsteel Nexus was held, or the same, conference
convention center. Yeah,
convention center. That it's going to be at that same center, maybe in a completely different part. But the Dragonsteel team is going to be there. Brandon will not. Mm-hmm. Apparently, it's a book-focused convention, and they're going to have an interactive game, and so just that'll be cool. That's from February 21st to 22nd. And they said that a lot of the things are available at, quote, a reasonable price. Who knows what that means in convention terms? Here's one that I think Jordan will appreciate. Brandon live streamed himself playing. What was the game, Jordan?
Now that you say it, I watched it. What was it? Gosh dang
Are
it.
you serious? Hades.
I'm suddenly blank. Yes, it was Hades. I was blanking. I was like, it was one of my favorite games.
I was trying to serve it up to you, but
no, I completely blanked. Like it was just suddenly just
That's
my
funny.
brain, like it remembered, oh yes, he streamed something I liked. And then the brain said, but we're going to make it a surprise as to what it was. No,
it was funny. I was like, okay, so Brandon Sanderson, Hades.
Yeah, it was the exact
this is a Venn diagram that
Yeah,
Jordan's name is at the middle.
Exactly. And let me tell you, I got some. I need to criticize his build a little. Yeah, I watched some of it.
Okay.
Criticize his build a little bit. I don't want to brag, but I've beaten the game on 32 heat. So
I don't want to brag, but I'm going to say this thing that I've mentioned a time or two.
In all honesty, this might be like my greatest gaming achievement is Hades.
That's fair. That's fair.
So it was one of those. So heat is like the hard mode, and like each heat you put on it does an additional thing that makes it harder. And it's not required at all to quote unquote complete the game, but they do have like 3 extra things you can do with heat that if you sort of like, this is for the hardest of hardcore. And I beat 16 heat and I just couldn't, like at 32, I was just like, that's a double. I can't do that. And then someone put out a video like why Hades will never be defeated on complete, 100% heat where they just max it all out. And then the hardcore players were like, because the guy's like, the only way it could be done is with this specific build, but you'd have to get the random luck to get the exact right things. And then the hardcore people were like, well, wait, so he proved it is possible. We just got to get the right RNG. And they started doing it. And then one of them finally did it. And I saw it and I was like, dang it. So I could beat 32. I just have to get good. And, it's just one of those things that just I have that nagging at the back of my head. It's like, well, you going to get good or not, scrub? And it's like, I guess I got to get good.
So what is 100% heat? Like is 32 100% heat or is that?
No. It's nowhere close.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
That's the thing that's cool about the heat is because there's like, give the minions more health, give them more attack, give them a shield, give them, you have less health, you don't heal, just all these little things this
doesn't sound fun to me.
Yeah.
I find it interesting because it's one of those you can kind of mix and match with some of them to figure out, like, okay, you know what, with this build I'm more willing to go, put more heat into this and blah blah blah. And I don't know, I find it fascinating.
Okay.
That's a game it's on my to playlist, but
it's a great game.
It's intimidating.
It might be
the full story.
It might be my favorite game of all time.
It shouldn't be too intimidating. It's actually very approachable at first, and it builds to
the thing. I really like it from a more casual aspect because I obviously went into the sweaty part of it, but the more casual aspect is they've done a great job of building failure into the narrative. Yes. And so even when you fail, you're getting more, like it's kind of built into the story for you to keep losing.
Yeah.
Like I just know that I personally struggle with like being afraid of failing with the game. And then I know, even though I know the mechanics are built into it, it's being okay. I just have to get over that.
And that's what the building it into the narrative makes. Cause as you do it, you're like, oh, okay. It feels like a natural progression of the story rather than I failed, so the story is blocked from me. It's I failed, so I'm getting more of the story.
You're getting a different branch. You're getting a different part of the story because if all you do is succeed, you actually like if you just beat the game every single time, you actually
miss out.
You don't get the full story.
Yeah,
it's very well made.
It's a brilliant.
Josh has enjoyed playing it, but I just haven't tried it yet.
You should just try it. Like say, I'm going to do 3 runs, and then at 4 or 5 in the morning, when you realize how much you've put of your life you've put into this game, you'll say, "Okay, I understand the hype."
I don't have a problem.
No,
I'm not playing it right now.
You are playing it right now, aren't you?
No, there's no way I could play it and stream at the same time. That is not possible. It is not casual.
Speaking of Brandon's YouTube channel, he's also now doing another release version of each of his lectures that he does. Because for those who aren't aware, Brandon teaches one class a year at BYU, and he always does it in the winter semester, so starting in January. And in the past, he has recorded those lectures and then put them on his YouTube channel. And this time he's doing it again with a bit higher production value rather than just a webcam in his lecture room.
Mm-hmm.
So his team is now recording it and editing it and putting it up. And so it's been, I think, 6 years since the last version he did. So those will be on his YouTube channel at youtube.com/.
The first few, the first few episodes.
This is important, at youtube.com/Brand Sanderson, not Brandon Sanderson. It is Brand Sanderson. So, what you were saying?
Anyway, there's already a couple of them up.
Yeah, he's already got a few of them up.
Well, I just think this is really cool because this is actually it's a weird thing to say for someone who's written as much as him, but I actually think this is actually his legacy more than his books.
In some ways, absolutely.
Because I just know the number of people who have learned from his lectures is pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Let's see. Also, on the Dragonsteel store, there have been restocks and new stocks added. So, First of all, the Mistborn deck building game is back in stock. I literally just checked, and it is in stock, so you can purchase it. It sold out very quickly twice. So,
are there any shared stocks?
I managed to grab a copy. I haven't opened it yet, but I have a copy of it now.
It's a lot of fun. It's a very good game. And of course, Katie Payne was, heading up the design over there. So
it's going to be pretty.
Yeah.
We're a little biased.
We're a little biased, but honestly, she's freaking amazing. So
yeah.
Also, there are new formerly Nexus exclusive products that are available. So they've got gem art, which, do you know what gem art is?
It's like the little diamond art thing that you pick up the little tiny things and you put them in like each of the color spots.
Yeah, it's like the little rhinestones that have adhesive on the back, and it's a little paint by numbers type thing, and you just put them all down.
I was not aware of this.
And so there's a few I think that he said they've got a few of those on the website for different art. And then they've got the Bridge 4 blanket, which they were selling there. They have a whole bunch of pins available.
The blanket's going to be a big one because there were a lot of people who wanted that at the con, but they're like, I can't do that because I have to ship it. And
yep. But now you can have them ship it.
Yeah.
So, also a big one is they're now selling story deck boxes. You can either get a 3-pack of the cards, which I think that each of those has 10, or you can get a box.
They have like 15 actually, I think.
Oh, 15. Okay. And or you can get a box of a gazillion packs, and those are $100 a piece. So you can get $30 for the 3-pack or $100. I believe.
No, it's $10 for 3 packs.
Was it 10 for 3?
Yeah, because I bought.
That's right.
9. I bought 9 packs for $30.
You're right. It's 10 packs for 3.
Yeah, and I think it's like 36 packs or something like that in the big boxes.
Okay.
And it seems like Harold, I'm in the Facebook group that's where people are trading the cards back and forth, and there's still Harold 7 through 9 are still hard.
Although they are, it does sound like they're becoming more common.
It sounds like it's getting better, but it's still hard.
Well, like there are some people who got 3 copies of Harold 8.
Which I'm just like, cool. I'm glad I was able to trade with somebody for it because someone took pity on me. So I have 8 now, but I don't have 7 and 9 still, and I'm rather doubtful I'm going to get them anytime soon at the rate it's going.
Pity's an amazing thing to have on your side.
Yeah, but we don't know if Mercy is, because that.
Oh yeah, Mercy's scary.
We know that Mercy had something to do with some stuff in the Cosmere. Also, they're selling the Stormlight Lost Tales binders for those story deck packs.
Mm-hmm.
So I got mine. Amy already had hers from from the con.
I carried it around as a Jawa.
And Jordan doesn't care.
I might get my own binder for it.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I just see it in like what you showed me with how it kind of
It looks really cool in the
but
binder.
it
It
bends
looks
it a
pretty.
little bit.
That's the
So-
issue. And there are some workarounds that people have discovered.
Yeah, like hanging it like a T, like having the binder and then kind of weighing it down and having the pages just hang for a day or so. People said that's kind of helped
okay.
to straighten it out.
Yeah. So
You know, I might get it then. I'll have to. I have decisions to make.
indeed. And now we have discussions to have about
Yes.
these prophecies, the
Prophecies.
death rattles and such. So, any thoughts from y'all?
I am so bad at predicting things. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I read the death rattles the first few times, I'm like, I don't know. But I mean, it was back in Way of Kings, so you really don't know what you're getting into because it's like part 1 and part 4, or book 1 and part 4. Anyway, like the very beginning and the very end of the book are where you're getting these death rattles, and so I didn't pick up on where a lot of them were coming from, but a lot of them also happen in book 4 or 5 or 3. You know, like they're all over the place.
Well, there was one that I was like, huh. Just because we would have no way to predict it. It was just so, and this is definitely one of those, it's just a huh. I don't know how much we can expand on it, but it was just one of the death rattles. 10 people with shard blades of light standing before a wall of black, white, and red.
Where is that one from?
That's Adolin and his team of Power Rangers at the end of book 5.
Oh.
Wait, really?
There's 10 of them, and the wall of black, white, and red
are the different colors. Yeah, that they have.
Right.
Oh,
I missed that one.
Yeah, and it was just
cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Just going through it, because you know all the death rattles at a certain point they kind of run together when you don't know what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see that, and suddenly it's like, wait. The other thing that was interesting, just because this one was collected 12 seconds pre-death by the Silent Gatherers. Subject was an ardent member of the Silent Gatherers, overheard during his last moments. So it's like even they weren't immune from the effects of it.
Well, I mean, they happen when Moalak is near, and they're obviously
right there.
Moalak's near. So there was one oh goodness, death rattle where like the note upon it says that they don't trust it very much because basically the death rattle is like, yeah, I know what you're doing. I'm not going to let you have what I see.
Right.
So they obviously saw something, but they're wise enough to what's going on. That
it was a death rattle that
denying.
happened, but they weren't speaking the death rattle. They were
denying him that. Yeah.
They were holding it back from him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Well,
I wish to sleep. I know now why you do what you do, and I hate you for it. I will not speak of the truths I see. So
there is I mean, should we just dive into the big one?
Which one?
The one that basically foretold the end of Wind and Truth.
Which one? There's a few of those.
There's so many. Which
Okay,
one?
the one that I'm thinking is I hold the suckling child in my hands.
Ah,
one.
okay.
The one that irks me. Yeah, that one.
And know that all who live wish me to let the blade slip. Spill its blood upon the ground over my hands, and with it gain us further breath to draw. This is the one that a lot of people latched onto as the Gavinor is the champion. And I was one of them, and we were right.
The thing that's interesting about this one is before I think we all viewed this as this is sort of the people of Roshar saying this.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, when Dalinar makes his decision and looks to the Stormfather, and the Stormfather sort of gives him the knowing nod or whatever, it's not about Roshar. It's about
all
the Cosmere. But specifically, it's the other shards. Like they've been ignoring this problem the entire time.
Yeah.
And this, like, that's the further, suddenly they now have to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get to ignore the problem of odium anymore because it's now retribution.
And he's unhappy and loose. So
that was the other, again, just I had this thought. This is the second time we've seen a god defeated by, but it be foreshadowed by a game. Because remember when Kelsier is talking to Ruin, he says to him, "Did you ever play card tricks when you were mortal?" And he goes into the whole thing about how, yeah, I love playing card tricks. And then he does the whole thing. I always could get him to choose the card that I wanted. And this time it was foreshadowed. It's like, you didn't play Towers, did you? And it was just a weird moment. It's like, if I had a nickel every time, it's odd that it happened twice.
Well, it's in a way, like not quite to the same degree. It's also similar to Vasher giving up his breaths to Denth before he killed. It's just like it's an absolute gambit.
Doing the wild card thing that they are not going to see coming at all.
But
exactly.
If you also consider the fact that at least on that world, Denth would have been considered a god.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's how you defeat a god.
It's not a shard, but yes, what you do is you change the rules of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they have all the cards, suddenly you change the rules that the cards don't do what you think they're going to do.
Wasn't that was one of the rules for how to play Towers? One of the rules was like only the fool like scatters, the pieces whenever he loses. This is not a metaphor for war. And then it's like sometimes the expert flips it over when he has no other thing. There's something about that.
Oh, there were so many of the tower things that I'm like, I can't remember a lot of them.
I'm gonna find this. It was really good because it was definitely foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
Towers. No, take me to the, what's it called? Epigrams. That's what I'm looking for. Epigraphs.
I can never keep epigram versus epigraph separate, and it's.
Yeah, I don't.
I use them interchangeably. I think.
I know, and it throws me. I'm like, I don't know what it is with the epi things.
The other one is a similar moment, I think, was a man stood on a cliffside and watched his homeland fall into dust. The water surged beneath, so far beneath, and he heard a child crying. They were his own tears.
Oh wow, I didn't even catch. That's Teravangian.
I mean, there's a lot of it's interesting because on the Coppermind they have it interpreted as Dalinar remembering his vision of the destruction of Kholinar with Noah.
Yeah, but this is literally but it's Teravangian. Yeah. That's Teravangian when he buries his own city under the sea.
That's true. Yeah, that makes more sense to me because I'm sitting there going,
yeah. I think
well, no, but I think it's both.
Otherwise.
I think that's the point.
Yeah.
It could be.
The best prophecies are.
Okay, I found it. It's rarely the wise will also seek in loss to flip the board and scatter the pieces. But if you do this, it is likely the last time you will play. This is also not an adage for Towers.
Mm.
And that's what.
It's literally what happened.
He's like, I know I'm going down swinging. So.
Well, it's because there's
not swinging.
Well, because the whole point was the board that had been set by Teravangian was an unwinnable situation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in an unwinnable situation, what do? You refuse to play the game.
Well, and basically what he did is Dalinar, because everything had been fixated and risked on this one single match. And what Dalinar said is, okay, I'm going to do whatever I can so that even if I lose this match, the game's not over. And we're actually in a better position. Potentially. Not a better position, but
as good as we can get.
We've gained some ground.
Roshar's not in a better position. Roshar's in a much worse position.
Mm-hmm.
But
but it's a worse position with the potential to become a better position.
Yeah, well, it's because the thing was he suddenly realized time was the thing Teravangian wanted, because Teravangian needs to understand this power and how to use it and such. And Teravangian's far too clever to just give him time to figure things out. And he realized the only way because it's sort of like Roshar's hosed either way. Either way, Odium is staying on this planet. The question is there a winning move after this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and one of the biggest winning things that happened for him was actually not something that Dalinar planned, because it's not something he even knew about, and that was the clash between Odium and Honor shifted your space time around Roshar.
Yeah.
And so while Taravangian has 10 years, everyone else has 80,
which is a big difference.
Yeah, it's a big one. And also explains why Brandon's been so cagey about dates.
Yeah, that certainly explains a lot that way. But he's like, I need to nail down the details. I can't give you stuff with that.
Has Brandon done a spoiler Q&A stream yet since?
I don't think so.
I've been on the lookout for one. So if he's done one,
I don't think I've seen one either. Because again, he was out of town for a while, and
now he's writing.
Now he's down writing. But
I'm now looking, I'm now looking through all the proverbs for Towers and War. I swear this book is now the diagram, because everything is just prophetic. Like this one. Fear the old man who welcomed failure when young. If he survived this long, he is learned. Which is that's Dalinar. Yeah. But the best way to win is to provide your opponent with no options but to lose. But beware the assumption that you have considered every possibility. That's Taravangian's whole thing to the T.
Yeah, he's like, I thought of everything because I'm just that smart. And it's like, you are super smart, but someone's still going to think a different way around it than you are.
And Renarin is the black hole on his...
Yep.
What he was able to predict
on his vision board.
Well, but it's also part of his whole assumption was he thought he knew Dalinar as well. Mm-hmm. And he thought there's no way Dalinar would break an oath. That's just not who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so he even when he ascended, he's like, what can you do? You can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very much similar again with Ruin and Preservation. It's Ruin just laughing at Kelsier, and it's like, are you kidding me? I couldn't have picked a better vessel for this thing. It does not want to obey you at all. And it's just because Kelsier is motivated by spite. It's like, I'm gonna find a way to get it to him.
I'm gonna make it last as long as I can, just to spite you on that. Yeah.
Because Kelsier likes spiting gods.
Oh, he does.
But no, I don't know. This man, yeah, that one's starting to look prophetic. But another one that was interesting, just because it is not correct, was one of the most heart-wrenching ones we've ever heard, which was Leighton's death rattle, where I die, the scholar with the spear. I die by the hands of a friend. My friend screams in death, and I know that I have failed to lead. I am no captain. I am nothing. Fire strikes me and my eyes burn.
Oh, that's supposed to be about Sig, right?
Yeah, and then Sig figured out the way out of it. Now he had to, which once again, talk about foreshadowing stuff. How do you get out of these things? You break the oath.
Yeah, which... Oh, his poor Spren. I mean, I could definitely understand why she didn't want to see him afterwards, but he saved your life.
Yep. And she recognizes that.
She recognizes it, but it still hurts, which I'm like, I totally get that. That's fair. So that's just rough.
But it's interesting that, again, so many good foreshadowing moments.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There have been several that it's like, oh, we thought we'd already seen this fulfilled.
Yeah, and then it's like, nope.
Like, for example, I have seen the end and I have heard it named. The Night of Sorrows, the True Desolation, the Everstorm.
Oh, yeah.
There's the Everstorm, but now there's the Everstorm, which is covering all of Roshar except for, what is it, Azir and Urithiru?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's got to be bad for the planet. Not gonna.
Well, so I have a question. Is the Everstorm covering the Shattered Plains then, or is
it is.
Okay.
But they just have a deal worked out with.
Yeah, they have a deal. The thing,
because they're
whole
not like fully his.
No, but they're also right over his perpendicularity.
Right.
So it's one of those, they're strangely in his power, but not consumed by it. But that's actually,
Right.
that's the whole planet right now, because if you remember, the Everstorm is much weaker in intensity now.
Because it's spread out.
It's spread out.
It's spread out. And well, and the other thing is because he could, if he wanted to, make Stormlight. Like that's something he could do still, but he doesn't want to. He wants to force everyone to use his power.
Right.
They're like, if they want power, it's going to have to come by his terms.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be difficult to not have to deal with him.
Yeah. The Everstorm is basically now Roshar's version of the Mist, because it's the gaseous form of Retribution's power.
Yeah.
Well, and just the fact that, now his whole thing is like, he's coming after Oathbreakers and stuff like that. That is one, very bad for Hoyd, but he's already suffered the consequences for that once.
Yeah.
Got turned to a fine red mist. That's something that one thing on the Coppermine, it's like he has the ability to, like turn Oathbreakers into a fine red mist. And I'm like, I mean, that could just be blood. Like that might not be like a power. That might just be what happens when you eviscerate someone at the atomic level.
Really fast.
I'd like to know what was the consistency of this red mist. That's going to be important.
Are you asking if it was thicker than water?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Ew.
But another one that was interesting was so the night will reign, for the choice of honor as life, which is interesting because this could apply to a lot of people. In one like you could say, first of all, Dalinar, like he's the Night of Sorrows is here, so he let the night reign for the choice of honor as life. And because that's the thing, is he actually broke his oath to give them a chance and let night reign, which is an interesting contradiction. But the Coppermine says may refer to Renarin and Relaine choosing to release Ba-Auto Mishram. Because that's the other thing that's interesting, is we now have to wait for that shoe to drop too. Like, that's one of the things in classic Brandon fashion. A lot happened, and yet there's still a lot of shoes left to drop.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we still don't. So, like, just with the Unmade, we have no clue what's going on with Ba-Auto Mishram. We have no clue what's going on with Ja-Anat. Both of them still want to be gods. Like, just because Retribution is now around doesn't mean they don't want that. We have no clue what's going on with Videl. Like she had agreed to work with him,
and then that thread is just left dangling.
Well, it's because she's now with the other heralds now,
right?
And
That's
so
true.
so it's like, what happens when they find out that no, I totally sold us out.
It's like, oh,
but I mean, the thing is, they all don't have very high a mountain to stand, or a horse to stand on there, because they've all had different madnesses at the time.
Remind me, at the end of Wind and Truth, did all of the heralds then return? Because some of them were dead and some of them weren't, and they sort of appeared spectrally for the reforging the Oath Pact. But what?
They're all so
they'd all be pulled.
They all
of them returned to.
Yeah, all of them got pulled mentally to wherever this place is. This.
What I'm saying is, the ones that were alive, did they then die and get pulled to? Did they return the same way that?
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think so.
I'm fuzzy on the ending of the
yeah, I'm fuzzy on a lot because it was a lot. But yeah, that's what I remember coming away with it as, is that they were all there.
Okay.
Yeah, which, it's now going to be, that's going to be fun, because it's like, all right, well, so Kaladin now has Now, whether he gets 10 years or the 80, depending upon where
We don't
this
know.
is, we don't know. But either way, it's like, okay, you have 10 years to help them work through their issues.
Yeah.
And, you know, which again, it's like, okay, but he doesn't know what he's doing still. He's kind of inventing this on the fly.
The
And-
other thing that go ahead.
No, I was going to say, the other thing is he also has that many years to train with them.
Yes.
See,
So the one thing
go
that I'd kind of seen going around is that with Ba'at Rishram, she's connected to oaths, right? So the fact that she's free now may help heal the Herald somewhat because it healed Spren.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
So it may take away some of the bad effects that happen to them because that factor is gone.
mhm.
Okay, now this is out there, but she was able to give forms of power to
The singers.
the singers
singers.
without
Mhm.
odium. I'm wondering if can she give a form of light to radiance?
Ooh. But will she want to is the other question.
No, but that, you know, who
Could
knows?
she? I don't know. It's kind of we haven't seen enough of her to know
Perhaps
that.
perhaps to, you know, the radiant singers. You know,
I could see that, yeah.
they can use both void light and storm light.
Hmm. I could see that, yeah.
So the other thing that's fun with Kaladin being with the Heralds is I want to see Kaladin becoming buddies and swapping embarrassing stories with Chanarach now.
I know you probably won't get it, but I do kind of wish we could have a scene where he's like, hold up. She's your daughter? Oh.
It's like she owes me some boots. So,
Well, no. I heard that apparently there was a boot exchange at the wedding.
yes, I know, but I'm just
It's
saying.
still funny, yes.
Like the conversation.
Hmm.
No, we knew that in Oathbringer. That was
Right.
one because she
But
talked about
no,
some of the gifts.
But I'm talking about the conversation between
Yeah.
Kaladin and Chanarach. She's like, "Let me tell you what your daughter did."
Your
Oh,
daughter is a thorn in my side, and she married the most frustrating man in the world. He won't
I'm
let
so
me
happy
mope.
for them, and I'm so frustrated. Nah.
I love them both dearly, and I will defend them forever. But my gosh, how
And for the record, they're the most sickening couple I've ever seen.
It's disgusting.
PDA is off the charts.
especially in this last book. Have you read this last book? Like, sorry, breaking some walls there.
Oh man.
The another one that was interesting. Let's see, where was that one? I had it here. Oh, this one was interesting. They break the land itself. They want it, but in their rage they will destroy it. Like the jealous man burns his rich things rather than let them be taken by the enemies. They come. That's kind of what happened Honor and Odium as they started to
Mhm.
fight both times.
Yep.
Both as
Mhm.
Tanavast and Dalinar, where they suddenly realized, oh crap.
I'm hurting things. Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of when the Lord Ruler first became, first ascended, and he like moves the planet trying to fix
Yep.
things, and he's like, "Oh, I'm burning everything." It's freezing. I need to figure out a way to make this balanced.
Better, yeah.
So he has to slap stuff together because it doesn't behave exactly as he expected.
Yeah.
3 of 16 ruled, but now the broken one reigns.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I wonder
Well,
what
and, like-
that's okay. There's another,
Well, that's-
thing waiting to drop. What's cultivation now going to be doing?
Yeah, who knows?
She
Running
left.
away.
Maybe she's off trying to survive. Oh wait, maybe she's the survival shard.
Is now.
The other thing. Sorry, no, never mind. I got.
Well,
My brain went
that's
on a
so, because of his power of retribution. The fact that he now specifically, like he has a specific thing against oath breakers. A lot of the shards have not been sticking to what they
Mhm.
agreed to. And I'm wondering if that's also part of what's going to terrify them is they didn't stick to their promises. And that kind of gives him an edge in how these powers seem to work.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so they're going to have to work together
Mhm.
to not start getting offed one by one.
Mhm.
And that's the other thing.
Because they already were. Like, that's what he was doing originally.
Well, and then on top of it, you have the situation that's going on Scadrial with Sazed, and the fact that this would be going on at the same time that this is going on. And Kelsier's cut.
Which this?
Sorry.
Era 2.
Yeah, Era 2 sort of like this is now, because of the time dilation that's going to go on, these things are going to be a little more concurrent than we first thought.
Uh-huh.
Like obviously when Hoyd teleports there, it's like, okay, he's now in Era 2 of Mistborn.
So Era 2 has just begun.
Yeah. And so, but that means literally all this is going on at the same time as Era 2, meaning Sazed knows what's going on Roshar. And that there's now a combined shard out there that is going to be a lot more effective than he is.
Mm-hmm.
And, you have Kelsier's whole argument about how, look, we don't know what the next threat is. And it's like, Kelsier at this point doesn't know what the next threat is. Mm-hmm. And how Kelsier doesn't know how right he is, actually. Like, not in the, just how scary it is out there. That they need to start making progress. But Sazed also is looking at things like, I want to do what's best for this planet, but you can
also see everything else going on.
It's the problem of like, I want to do things that are right, but what do you do when barbarians are at the gate?
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know what? It's Ellen's whole lesson he has to learn in book 2 all over again. Where it's like, this might be this great idea of this, you want to make this egalitarian society, but Koloss are here. Like, we don't have time for this. We need, desperate times call for a tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not what you want because it's not what's ideal, but there's someone has to sort of bathe themselves in blood to let people live by their ideals.
Well, and like in Mistborn, sadly, Elend is the perfect person to do that because he does hold those ideals. He doesn't want to be a wartime emperor.
Yeah, that's the thing. The person you want with the power is the person who doesn't want the power.
Right.
Yep.
And it's Sazed too, but the problem for Sazed is he's got 2 conflicting shards, so
he's far more limited in what he can do.
It's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's probably a good place to take a break.
Okay.
So, all right, we'll be back in just a little bit. We'll see y'all in just a sec.
All right. Timing for this is really good because I really need to pee. All right, be right back.
I need to refill my water. Amy, perform for us.
It's working for the ghosts. No. He's fine. He probably would work for the ghost, but it's just for the Kelsier fanboying. But it'd be fine. It'd be fine.
He may have us muted. Faded Saint may have us muted.
Ah, true.
He tends to get yelled at if he comes in for spoilers.
On the spoilery things, and this one's already spoilery. Yeah, it's okay. Oh, just got there. Ah, okay. Well, we're in our little gap, but once we're not done with our gap time, then you should probably not listen because it's spoilery. But
Very, 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 very,
very spoilery. Yeah.
All right.
Trust a weather machine.
It snowed in New Orleans, and he accused me of having a weather machine.
Yeah, I think I've seen like videos and clips of people like, it's Florida and it's snowing, and I'm like, it's not snowing here. That's weird.
There's snow on the
now,
ground.
though. Yeah. Now it is, but before there wasn't.
It was pretty strange.
Yeah, it was because it's like I'm seeing my nieces and nephews in Dallas. They got some snow days. New Orleans was getting snow. Some places in Florida were getting snow, and I'm just over here like, I like snow. I'm in Utah. Why is there no snow?
I didn't want the snow.
I did.
I want it for the water table. I don't want it on my steps necessarily.
Yeah, I want snow up in the mountains so that it will fill the reservoirs as it melts.
Yeah.
I want it everywhere.
No.
Okay,
we ready?
I'm fighting. No, just one sec. Kamisite, I'm fighting a duel with you over this. You will not accuse me of being a ghost sympathizer. I sent those Ghostbusters to your place as a favor, and then this is how you repay me. Pistols at dawn. We'll need to figure out a dawn, though. I don't know which one.
How does Bustin make you feel?
Good. Very good.
It's like a rage room. Those things where you just go beat stuff up.
I will not be accused of being a ghost sympathizer. I am firmly on the side of the living.
Good times, good times.
All right. It's time for you to now go away, Kamisite.
Okay, I'm going to make a new room.
Oh, good. You didn't flip. No, I told you, Kamisite. We're not doing cannons. It's pistols.
Who challenged who to the duel?
I did.
You challenged him? Then I'm sorry, he gets to choose the weapon.
No. I'm the one who declared pistols at dawn. And he's like, I have a cannon guy. And I'm like, no.
If you challenge someone to a duel, they're the ones who choose the weapon. That's just how it works.
No. Shut up and go read Mistborn's Secret History.
Is that what he's on now?
I don't know. So I told him to go too, because he finished book 4. And I'm like, you need to now catch up on your Mistborn.
Yeah, probably good call. Okay. We ready?
I am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to... All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, so one of the ones that it's a very simple one, but I think it's worth checking out and talking about a bit, is he must pick it up, the fallen title, the tower, the crown, and the spear. So there's some interesting stuff behind this one, I feel, after all of the events of Wind and Truth. Mm-hmm. Because Kaladin is obviously the spearman. But the tower and the crown, that's Dalinar's symbol. You know, that's the Kholin.
Well, and and
Kaladin has been made the heir of the Kholin line.
Mm-hmm.
And also at the same time, I could also say the tower, the crown, and the spear. That also could be Dalinar, Navani, and Kaladin.
Like Kaladin, yeah.
Like we still don't know who the third bondsmith is. or rather, we still don't have a third bondsmith.
Yeah.
We don't.
And
yeah,
now there won't be 3 bondsmiths because the Stormfather got noped right out of existence.
Yeah, because breaking a bond.
Well,
That-
even after breaking the bond, Retribution, I think, vaporized him, didn't he? I think the Stormfather.
There was a lot
completely-
going on,
I think
so
the Stormfather
Remember.
got completely destroyed, if I remember right.
I'll look it up real quick.
Let's see. To the Coppermine Stormfather.
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, more to the point. He I don't know, it's again one of those, it could refer to multiple things at the same time.
Mhm.
Which, cycles and all that stuff would make a lot of sense. Let's see. Look. I also wonder if Syl now is the one who will be telling people if their
About
words
their
are
oaths.
yeah, because she's the most senior of all the honor spren.
She's the most senior of the Honor Spren, and he is the Herald of Kings.
Yeah, so she'd like, I just think she'd be the one who's most able to speak
Fulfill
on
that role.
behalf of honor. It's good. Like, there's so many interesting little things of what.
I mean, I wonder if Bada Mishram would get involved in that too, maybe, because she's in the oath stuff as well.
Okay, I
There's-
can't find it on the Coppermind. I don't think they've updated the Coppermind.
I mean,
reflect.
It's hard
There's
to
a lot.
update all of it.
No, honest, shame on them. No, no, there's a
Get on.
whole lot to tweak.
The he's gone no matter what. I was wondering if it was because he was vaporized or if it was the broken
I feel like
oath.
he was destroyed. I'm going to look it up in the book. So
Cool. All right.
Yeah,
Then
stuff.
on top of that, we've been talking a lot about the death rattles, but what about the diagram?
Oh goodness, I didn't even look at the diagram stuff.
Well, I would like to go to paragraph 1 of the back of the footboard, the tenets of instruction. You must become king of everything. And everything is capitalized.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I remember that actually.
Mm.
It's everything got a lot bigger.
Yeah, because I mean, but first we thought it was just like Roshar, and now it's Cosmere, potentially.
Well, and it was one of those things where he said king, and we thought it was a literal king. Then it became odium. It's like, oh, okay. So it's more about, the Cosmere. And then at the end of this book, it's like, oh, it was both. It's just both.
Because why not,
And then on top of it, also from the diagram, but who is the wanderer, the wild piece, the one who makes no sense? I glimpse at his implications and the world opens to me. I shy back. Impossible. Is it? And I believe this is clearly Hoyd. And it's interesting because now he has the memories of odium. And the fact that when he destroys Dalinar for breaking his oath,
Okay,
he's what?
sorry, I did find it.
Oh, okay.
Here it is. Teravangian roared in defiance, then in glory as he realized this would mean his freedom. The contract, including honor's binding of odium to this world, was finished. In a rage, he attacked and vaporized the Stormfather.
No.
Gotcha.
So yeah, the Stormfather is just completely obliterated.
I mean, it's possible that there will be a new Spren of some sort to fill that gap.
It may take some time.
But it would probably
Yeah.
take some time. So I mean, yeah. So I mean, there might be 3 eventually. We don't know.
Yeah. But back to the Hoyt thing, because he's pissed because he starts to realize what Dalinar tricked him into doing.
Mhm.
And then he needs something to take it out on, and he's like, there's at least one other Oathbreaker around here. And that's when we cut to Hoyd running for Sigil, just being like,
take this, go.
He is coming for me. It's gonna be quick. I say yes. Say yes.
He cannot get his hands on this.
Say yes. Yeah. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Yes. Okay. Hi. How's it go?
And now we kind of understand why Sigil is so mad at Hoyd.
He got no prep time. Just whoop. Yeah.
To be fair, neither did Hoyd.
No. Well, Sigil was already going through a rough time at that point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. It's going to get better, right? We at least know it ends okay.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Rough, buddy. Yeah, it's way rough, buddy. But no, another one, I'm trying to find it. It was in the diagram. So there was also a bunch of predictions that were mentioned, but we didn't get a specific epigram for it. One of them was they predicted Dalinar would fall and become the enemy's champion, which it talks about. It's like it proved false. And it's like, well, kind of, because he does get the Blackthorn.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah,
I'm a bit upset at Brandon for that, I think.
Oh, I'm very interested in it.
I'm intrigued. I'll be interested to see where it goes. But I remember as I read it, I was just like, I haven't made a decision yet. It'll depend on how future books go. But it felt like a cheat.
Yeah, I still don't know how to feel about it, and I'm just trying.
Well,
not
I'll
to
be
think
very
about how
interested to
his poor
see.
Children are going to seeing that.
Well, I'll be interested to see what it is really, because it seems like, because this is a spiritual being that's all it was a spiritual being, but because Dalinar gave it his memory, it now has a mind.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that they can make a physical body for cognitive shadows, because obviously they did that for the heralds.
The heralds and everything, yeah.
I just realized something.
That being?
What?
We'll probably actually see a battle between the Blackthorn and the Blondthorn.
That's what I was worried about. And
we'll probably see an actual one. Well, but Adolin, if he's able to process it, he'll be able to recognize, this isn't my father. This is all of the worst parts of him. Unleash.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the heavy metal music starts
his
playing.
Cathartic, fight there. It's like, we're going to let out some rage.
Yeah.
We'll just taking it literally out on a past version of him, my father. It's fine.
It's giving him a chance giving him something he doesn't often get, a chance to really cut loose.
It's going to be
Jordan
good.
knows what I'm referencing.
Yes. Darn straight I do. Superman.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other thing that was interesting, because I had forgotten these things, and this is why the Copper Mine is such an amazing resource, because there were things that were in the diagram that were mentioned in the story, but not in epigraphs. Right. My goodness. Yakoved cheering for Taravangian doesn't matter. Return of the Fuse doesn't matter. Honor Blades and where they get them. The fact that the Ghost Bloods are in the diagram is interesting.
Which one is that one?
It's just they talk about on one of them. It's like, is this referring to Marays? So they clearly know about it, but this is just in the prediction section. There's a section of ones that weren't epigraphs, but they were mentioned by characters that this is in the diagram type of thing.
Oh, okay.
The Fall of Dalinar. This one's interesting. One or more of the Unmade setting up in Shinovar, because Ishar confirmed it was true, but he did something to get rid of them. Now he then completely went, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs as well. But it means by the time that the diagram is being written, this would have already have happened. And so,
well, yeah.
Hmm.
And the diagram wouldn't necessarily be under the same impression as as the others of Ishar is an unmade, because that's what they thought.
Yeah.
They were going after an unmade, and it was
Then this is something else that is interesting. It says nothing is mentioned about Nightblood in the diagram, which
I wonder if he's kind of a blind spot.
Yeah, but it was something that it was in one of the interludes where Taravangian is talking to Adrotagia, and they're talking about the flaws in the diagram.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is like, yeah, there was nothing about the sword in there.
But you think would have some notice.
It's important because it's literally the linchpin of the entire Ascension.
Yeah.
Yet it's not in the diagram.
Mm.
There's also someone else not in the diagram that I thought was interesting. There is no mention of Navani in the diagram.
So with Nightblood, it may just be because do we know when the diagram was written?
It was.
I know
before they found Zeth.
Yeah, it was before they found Zeth, and it was also he went, I believe, after Dalinar, didn't he?
The reason I ask is because was Nightblood on Roshar at that point?
I think so.
I think Dalinar went after Taravangian. I think Dalinar was the most recent. I think Taravangian was first.
I'd have to find a timeline.
I'm not positive. I could be so wrong on that.
But no, well, so that's the thing that's interesting. The reason I brought up Navani is it's all based upon his ability to surmise things with his own knowledge and looking at things. Now, it's when he's at the absolute pinnacle of, a human's ability to interpret and look at events, which is how he's able to see okay, there's some wanderer that's doing stuff around here. I don't know what, but I can see that here and I can see this here. But, this is why I'm talking about Nightblood and Navani is he has no way of predicting when people go outside of what they expect of themselves. Because there would be no evidence at the time of when he's writing the diagram that Navani would get over her issues and learn to actually be a full force in the world. And
she was the Queen Dowager. She was off the board basically because Alucard was king.
Exactly. Well, and then on top of it, like Nightblood, like you said, probably off planet. And how would you anticipate something like that?
I feel like he would have been on the planet.
But there has to be evidence of it for him to find it. And if let's say it's with Vasher for some reason, Vasher ain't unloading him anywhere.
Yeah, he's not.
And so there's just no evidence for, even with all that intelligence, to even see inklings of what's going on there. And so it's part of what's the limit of the diagram is that he's got to be able to find some evidence of something.
Yeah, all we know of Nightblood's presence on the planet is that at some point he was likely in Cultivation's possession because she offered or at least in a sphere of influence. Exactly, because she didn't offer him to Dalinar, but she kind of
mentioned him.
She mentioned him. She's like, "What would you have from me? Would you like this? And would you like a sword that bleeds black and can never be defeated?"
Yeah, there's something
we know is Nightblood. Which who knows what's gonna happen with him as he goes through therapy.
Yeah. So wait, where is Nightblood?
He's with Zeth now.
He's still with Zeth. That's right.
But like what he had a breakthrough is more what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Nightblood started figuring out how to do surges.
I know.
Yeah. He's like all of the honor blades because all of them taught him because he hung out with them.
But he's scary. I don't know.
So
I don't know if
that's
he's scary or
well, that's the thing that's interesting is he started gaining some level of perspective
Uh-huh.
because he started like,
Yeah.
am I like it's sort of like I only destroy evil though, right? Like and
right.
he starts to starts because he's starting to gain a little bit of perspective,
Uh-huh.
and that's dangerous. It's like I don't know what's more dangerous: him not knowing what he's doing or him knowing what he's doing.
He's doing
Well,
because
And the other thing is, there is a very, very dangerous time between knowing nothing and knowing everything you need to know.
Well, and this is a very dangerous time for it because we know Zeth is going to live and have a wife.
daughter.
Yeah, and like, what's going on with Nightblood? Because if I'm Retribution, but first of all, I can't believe he's going to let Zeth live to a ripe old age. Like, I'd be over here just like, no, get rid of him.
well, I mean,
Well,
but how much
fair,
of how much
be
of a
fair-
threat is Zeth going to be?
To be fair, Zeth has the one weapon that he's probably afraid of.
But that's the point. It's like I would send a lot to make sure that's no longer in his possession. Just, you know, he doesn't have Stormlight right now, so like how would he wield Nightblood safely?
I don't
Well,
know.
The thing is, now that Nightblood has had his breakthrough, who knows what it takes to wield him anymore?
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I just can't believe he's letting Zeth, you know, grow up enough to have a daughter.
I feel like he's probably busy. This is going to be his biggest factor because now he's handling everything aside from two little areas. So I feel like he's kind of busy.
Well, the other thing is, of all people, Zeth is not an Oathbreaker.
True. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might not.
So
He might
can't
not be
really
able
feel
to.
justified in going after him. Yeah.
That's a good
So-
point. I didn't think
So
about
that plus the whole figuring out that he probably can't use Nightblood, and so it might be a combined. I'm too busy. He's probably not a threat.
There also you could argue he might have a soft spot for Zeth because he is an
Because he's the one who
Oathkeeper.
put him where he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't.
They put
I
each
don't
other
like it.
where they are.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely has a soft spot for Zeth. I mean, like you saw him musing on it before Zeth killed him.
Yeah. I just don't like Teravancian.
Oh.
I don't like him.
He's a great villain.
Oh, that's the other thing that like long-term, far-ranging thing. I think him saving Carbranth in sort of the Doctor Who style of I saved them. I think that's going to come back and bite him in the butt. I think because it violates the spirit of what he was telling Dalinar.
Mm.
And I think it's one of those things that, like, as time goes on and retribution becomes more of a thing, I think it's going to become just as what Tanavast was doing was becoming a friction point between him and Honor. I think the keeping of Carbranth is going to start to become a friction point for him and the retribution shard.
That he did
Because
something that kind of
yeah.
broke his own thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's because that's the thing. Like, he talks about how, because he saved them, and, you know, because he couldn't bear to part with them. And that's the thing, is he sits there and seethes as he sits on his throne in Carbranth, in virtual Carbranth, because in his heart, he knows Dalinar was right about him.
Yeah.
And it just gnaws at him. And I think that gnawing is just gonna grow
He's gonna
with
do
time.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that was the whole thing. Because it's like, oh no, I'm the guy who'll sacrifice anything to.
Anything. No, and it's like
And it's like,
a liar.
you have one carve out. Like it's the understandable carve out. It's the part of you that is human.
Mhm.
it would take an absolute, like, just sociopath, which he's not. He's not that. To just sit here and be like, no, I can cut that off without any issue. Sure, that's fine. It's like, no, he cares deeply about. That's why he was the perfect holder for odium.
I do wonder if the Blackthorn finds out about it and goes, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And I don't know, maybe that would add to some friction there, but I don't know if that would be enough. I don't know.
The Blackthorn thing's interesting. Another one that was interesting, let's see, where was that on the diagram? I had it here. Oh, this one. Chaos and Alethkar is, of course, inevitable. Watch carefully and do not let power in the kingdom solidify. The Blackthorn become an ally or our greatest foe, depending upon whether he chooses the path of the warlord. If it's just, and there's some stuff after it, but just that he did both.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's interesting because I remember that was part of the issue with what was his name? The guy who recruited Moash.
Oh. Dang it, I can't think of it now.
Anyway, the guy, because he talked about how we know, like, the diagram talks about, we either need to ally with him or kill him. Because he'll either be our greatest foe or whatever. And they talk about how, it's fine because everyone, Graves, his name's Graves.
Graves.
There we go. I was going to look it up. Yeah.
He talks about how, we know it's going to be one or the other. And that's the thing. You look at the diagram, you're like, okay, this is the nuance of the diagram. The fact that it actually predicted both. And that was their problem, is they were looking at it as a or situation. Because they'd have no way of anticipating that it was an and situation.
Yeah.
The diagram is still just one of the most fascinating fantasy concepts I've ever seen. I love it.
It's just crazy.
There's another death rattle that really is interesting to me. I didn't come up with this myself. I saw it on the Copper Mine, but it's one that I thought we had it figured out, and then it was turned completely on its head by Wind and Truth. That's the burdens of 9 become mine. Why must I carry the madness of them all? O Almighty, release me.
Yeah.
We obviously thought this was town.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Ishar.
I think it might be both.
It could be both. The main thing that makes me think, oh, this actually was meant to be Ishar, is that the title of chapter 138 is The Burdens of 9.
Oh, and that's okay. I could see that, but I could see it being applied to both of them.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's one of those that could be both, but not even thinking it could be Ishar, because that's what he had been doing. Is he had been taking their madness upon himself. I mean, they still had plenty of madness, but he lessened.
But he took a big chunk of it, yeah.
And so,
yeah,
I think that's such an interesting shift.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be especially interesting because of all the guilt they all have. We saw a piece of it with Ash, because she talks about how, you're supposed to hate us and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we get to Wind and Truth, and, they have the moment where they break into the infirmary, and the Fused are all like, yep, all right, kill everyone. That'll demoralize them. And Ash just kind of turns and looks at them. You dumb creme.
Look, you picked the worst spot to try and do that.
Like, literally. Do you have any idea how, if you had said this literally any other place on the planet, you'd have been fine.
You've been fine. Nope.
But you had to say it in front of frickin' Tal.
And her, I mean, I'm sure she did some damage too, but it's just like, but Tal, oh man.
just I love, we don't see it. All we see is Adolin then like and he just sees like the mountain of bodies that are underneath this man. And it's like he has no weapons, just went to town, just went John Wick on all of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to see it. I want to see him go John Wick.
Oh man.
And but the thing is, but I loved about what I loved about that is her being like, he's not going to go alone this time.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's sort of that idea of courage is contagious type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Talon was the only one who didn't fall during the last what we called the last desolation.
Yeah.
Didn't fall ever.
Yeah. And so when he died, it's like, okay, yeah, we got to do something now because we are in bad shape. Which again, that kind of comes. It's interesting how it kind of parallels Dalinar's decision, where they all knew we're just breaking over and over again. We can't keep going like this.
Yeah.
And is it the quote unquote honorable decision? No. You just abandoned a man to, 4,000 years of torture. Like there's nothing honorable about this decision, but at the same time,
but they accidentally stumbled on the right decision for the wrong reason.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like, we have to, for this planet to have a shot, we gotta.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel horrible for it, and it would gnaw at them for millennia. Well,
and I mean, you see what happens because when Chanarach is killed, she breaks. I mean, comparatively, nearly immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it frankly could have just been because we know there's a period where they sort of have to find them first. For all we know, she might have just been able to hide for all that time because they weren't looking for her.
Right.
And so she might have broken immediately when they got to her. Who knows?
I'm
sure we'll find out in the next set of books,
Well, I mean, we
whenever
know
that
when
is.
the desolations kind of started, so.
Yeah, but I'll be interested to know, like, did she have to endure torture, or did she immediately break when they found her, or, I'd like to know what happened in the intermediate.
Oh, you're talking about on
Braze.
Braze. Is it Braze? Yeah, it's Braze.
Yeah, Braze.
And then on top of it, I'd like to know what she was doing after she broke.
We know she went to a wedding.
Yeah, and that's all we know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know about when she broke because that's when Talon shows up.
Yeah. And so I'd just like to know it because there's some time between that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see what that's about.
Mm-hmm.
Which we will. Because, everyone's getting their own individual and probably group therapy sessions.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yep.
No,
any other you want to mention before we start wrapping up?
I feel like a lot of the other ones we've kind of already talked about in the previous ones, and those were ones that were more obvious. Like they connected obviously with this incident or that incident.
There was one more. I'm trying to find it. I really should have looked at it. Here it is. They named it the final desolation, but they lied. Our gods lied. Oh, how they lied. The Everstorm comes. I hear its whispers, see its storm wall, and know its heart. So this is another one that literally has two different possible meanings. Because
there's two Everstorms.
There's two Everstorms, and there's two what we called the final desolations.
There's two versions of the Everstorm, rather.
Yeah. And so, because we thought, oh no, this is the final destination, and it's like, oh, it's not. And then it's like, okay, this is the final destination. Desolation. No, it's not a movie. Not yet. Anyway, but our gods lied. Oh, how they lied. because even like what ended up breaking Dalinar, not a lie, but a broken oath. Sort of the lie he told himself that I can fix this. And it's like, you can't. And like, that's sort of his thing where he finally has to, I just realized Dalinar had to do unplanned what Kelsier did. He has to do the Thanatos gambit where he sacrifices himself and throws the ball to the next generation. Whereas Kelsier, that was his plan from the beginning and why he's not a Knight Radiant, because the destination was the journey for Kelsier. Whereas Dalinar didn't plan it, but he kind of came to the same conclusion of, I'm going to need to make a sacrifice here and trust the next generation to pick the ball up where I throw it.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing that he did is he preserved the next generation.
Yeah.
Because Gavinor is now still around.
Speaking of people who are going to need therapy. Anyway.
Oh man, he's going to need so much help.
Well, and the thing is, Yesna is now the queen of Kholinar, or whatever version of it still exists. And Gavinor is actually technically supposed to be the king of Alethkar when he comes of age. And look at what has happened. He's come of age.
Yeah.
There is potential for unrest around this situation.
Yeah, I have
Yasna's just been her.
I'm worried about what Gavinor's going to be like, because we haven't seen what he's like, really.
Especially because the one person I think who could have really saved him is Navani, and she's in Princess Zelda Crystal.
Yeah. I mean, I think Lift has a chance of getting,
Lift could. Lift probably and she's got the next book.
Mm-hmm.
So there absolutely could be something there.
But yeah, his other connections are not, I mean, they're still like the nursemaid or whoever, but that was probably not as big of a connection as other things.
I have a feeling he's going to, I think he's going to try and go on a Punisher style warpath is what is going to happen.
I don't know. Like, I think he'll need to recover. Like, honestly, Kaladin started therapy in Urithiru. That may be where he is for a while.
Yeah, I'm just worried he's going to hurt people before he...
Which is why I'm predicting the Punisher style warpath.
I could see that, yeah.
On a trail of destruction as he's trying to get to Moash, who's now a Steel Inquisitor or Crystal Inquisitor.
Yeah, that's a whole... Oh, man. No.
Yeah, I was wondering about, because remember I kept on saying how much I wanted Oridon and Gavinor to be buddies running around Urithiru.
Oh yeah, that's not happening.
What if Oridon is kind of his saving point?
I mean, at this point he can't
be like,
now.
That's what I'm supposed to be.
The gap's too big now.
What's that?
The gap's too big now. Oridon's like 3.
I'm not talking about them hanging out. I'm talking about him seeing him and observing him.
And seeing like, that's the age I should be. That's who I used to, kind of like that. More like that, maybe. I don't know.
Or even Oridon recognizing him. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Lift is going to have...
Lift, I think you're right, is probably going to be
more.
the big...
I mean, there's a reason we got to see Lift hanging around Gavinor a lot at the beginning of this book. That's clearly setting something up.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And she's got a new mentor in Vasher, so that's going to be... And I mean, as gruff as he is, I'm sure he's going to be like, yeah, I need to step in and kind of assist with this.
She was palling around with Zeth and before this. Like, Vasher's frankly a step up in terms of companionship.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the other thing is that Lift is the kind of person who, if he gets mopey, she's going to be like, no, we're not doing this.
Let's go eat some food. Let's go have a snack. It'll be fine.
She's also the only person with any way to create light now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's going to be powerful.
She's going to be very powerful.
Especially she's being trained by Vasher.
That's still crazy. That fight she took out of Frugamus. That's insane.
I mean, she is the only one who can create light, but except for those in Eurythea who do still have access to Tower Light, don't they? Yeah.
Inside of it, yeah.
Inside of Eurythea.
It's just the issue, it can't really go that far.
Which
unless
I think Brandon took special care to make that very clear so that people aren't speculating.
Saying, oh, well, they'll just take a bunch of that power light and do that. It's like, no, it stops.
No, I have it.
Oh, no, here we go.
Here it is.
They know how to separate light. We've already seen this before.
Right.
Oh.
They could
see. Well, the scholars have access to that now. That's true.
And so...
Did we see them split off Stormlight from stuff, though?
We saw they're able to combine it. It'd be the same reverse process. If it's still based upon waves, you should be able to split light as well as combine it. If so that could be how they start getting Stormlight. But the thing is, that would make it an incredibly rare resource because there's a whole refining process. It's essentially the same way, like how do you get oil? You have the raw stuff, and then you have to process it into a usable state.
Well, the other thing is the only way to get Warlight is the people who lay out the spheres.
Yeah.
And so they're not necessarily easily able to get Warlight.
No. And it's clear that Taravangian would make sure that only people who are doing what he wants are going to get the Warlight.
Right. And I mean, he was explicit about that when he was talking to the singers.
Yeah.
Or whatever, the listener, what is the name of Venli's group?
They changed names so many times that I can never keep it straight. Venli's group, we can just call it that.
They're the listeners, right?
Probably the listeners. I think that's
because then then the next generation is supposed to sing. Like we listened so you could sing.
Well, except that Venli was referred to as the last listener, but that's because I don't know. Who knows?
It's hard.
Which,
That's true. Dysgraphic in chat mentions Tower Light has Stormlight and Life Light, so they could split that.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like the Tower Light is...
Oh, okay. That makes it easier.
Well, especially because it's abundant. And if they split it, then maybe... But that may take some figuring to actually...
How do you get it into a usable state that can travel around? And
they haven't yet found the tone of Tower Light or of Life Light. But they could, again, Lift can create Life Light. So who knows? There's potential, but
the sibling knows the tone because the sibling talks about how.
But is the sibling very responsive?
Isn't the sibling sort of dormant with Navani right now?
Right now, but the whole thing is if Navani's still making the light, like her scholars know it. They already if you have the combined tone and you already know what Stormlight is. The difference is Life Light. Like, because waves are additive.
Right, but that's not necessarily something that they're still fully familiar with.
They have Navani's notes.
Right, but this is still even if they have her notes, it's still a very new science to them.
Yeah.
I trust Rushu. She's got this.
And part of Navani's, the reason Navani was able to do it is she was a musician.
Yeah. So I looked at Venli's page and they are just listeners, is what they're called.
Okay. They are still the listeners.
Yeah. So. I think they'll be limited by their ability to refine it and store it. Like that's the other part is you got to get it into the crystals, which, that wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and then do they still have a vacuum tube like Navani used? How many? Again, you're talking about the ability to refine it. That was a rare thing that came from Thalena, which is not an ally at the moment.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of limiting factors in any refining process.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it's more like I'm thinking of remember remember in what is it? I guess it's Isles of Emberdark, the prelude chapters that we got, where we saw the radiant that was there that we think is a Skybreaker, offering a deal.
Almost certainly a Skybreaker.
We see him like take out like a cartridge and shove it into like his gun or whatever it is. Gun. And I'm wondering if that might be like a futuristic version of, we've refined it in this storage thing so that we can move it around and we shove it in. And I'm wondering if what we're going to see is the prototypes of that going forward.
I mean, they haven't seen guns per se.
No, but I just mean like they would need an energy thing.
Yeah.
Something that can move around Stormlight.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming there's not shenanigans, assuming the Radiants don't sort of get subsumed by retribution.
Yeah, it's who knows? There's a lot that could happen.
Things are nuts.
All I know is it's really convenient for Adolin's Power Rangers that they don't need Stormlight.
Oh, I know. Otherwise, they'd be in big trouble. Yeah.
Including his ghost armor.
Anyway.
Okay.
Fun stuff.
Well, we love hearing from our listeners, so please keep sending us your questions. You can ask us about the Cosmere. You can drop us ideas for topics you'd like us to discuss during the show. And while you're at it, we'd love to hear your feedback about how you think we're doing, as well as any interesting theories you might have about what's going on in the Cosmere. You can send all questions and suggestions in a brief, concise email to cosmerestudies@gmail.com, and hopefully we could read that as part of the show. You can also reach us at the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, P.O. Box 970063, Orem, Utah 84097. We do have our own personal projects that we're working on outside of the podcast. So Jordan, why don't you lead us off? Let us know what you got going on right now.
You can find me at twitch.tv/splicestream, where we are still working on the Quizzard Game Show. I've made some great headway. I thought I had made enough headway to do it last week, but it's way more work than I remembered doing. I forgot how difficult it is to get all of my macros to do things automatically to where I can efficiently host a game show. So I'm hoping to do it this Saturday. If I do, I'm going to need some people to do some testing for me as far as how the game actually plays. And so if you'd be interested in doing some video game trivia, please reach out to me via Discord, because I need volunteers. And if you're like, oh, I don't really know video games that well, that's actually kind of who I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who feel that they're okay with video game knowledge. I'm not looking for people who just consume this stuff all the time. I'm looking for the average person. So if you are the average person when it comes to video game trivia, I need you. Please message me.
All right. And Amy, how about you?
My Facebook is Coincidence Cosplay and Props. My Twitter is @CoincidenceCosp because my name is too long. My Instagram is @coincidence_cosplay, and my TikTok is @coincidencecosplay. And my website is www.coincidencecosplay.com. So I am actually, I know I say this every time, but I'm finally going to actually start posting things on like my other ones other than TikTok. But I've been putting up a bunch of Twilight and Jawa and Biker Scout videos that way on TikTok. But I need to I'm going to start putting Mando progress on my other ones, as well as finally putting up pictures from like the last 2 years, because I've been terrible about actually posting. So mostly I'm working on my Mando and some other random 3D prints. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
Cool. I do want to promote another podcast that I am on occasionally with Jordan. It's called I Think We Overleveled. It's a bunch of basically a bunch of old college buddies talking about video games back in the day, and what it was like. And yeah, just talking about the good old days of gaming. It's a lot of fun. We record on Wednesday nights, and it's at www.youtube.com/splicestream. We record at the same time as we normally record our this podcast, so 7:30 in Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. So the one we did a couple weeks ago was the game that kept me up all night. So the game you stayed up late playing, where I actually had fun with that because I introduced pretty much everyone to a game none of them had heard of, and it kind of blew their minds.
It overtook the show. I had to know more.
Yep, Street Fighter 2010, the final fight. So
check out the episode. It's a mind trip, man.
And then our most recent one, we talked about the Game Boy series of portable consoles. So, and just how they affected us.
It was interesting.
For those of you who want to support the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, but you can't become patrons, just let your friends know about the show. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, to like and subscribe over on youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. And if you want to toss us a good review wherever you listen to us, we'd love it. Comment on the videos, all that other stuff. All right, final thoughts.
Diagrams or diagraphs, they're hard to keep straight.
It's always diagram. Epigrams and epigraphs.
It's epigrams and epigrams.
No, I think it's diaphragms.
My goodness.
Isn't it diaphragms?
No, that's a muscle.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Diadems?
That's jewelry.
Diabetics?
No, that's you.
That's you.
Oh, that's me. All right.
Words are hard.
Well, in addition to the live episodes of the show that stream on youtube.com/Cosmere Studies every 2 weeks on Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, listeners can find our videos on YouTube or audio versions of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and just about any other service that carries podcasts by searching for Cosmere Studies. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, depending on what the situation is with TikTok, and Facebook under the profile at Cosmere Studies. For our next episode, we'll finally be starting our deeper dives into the various plots over the course of Wind and Truth. Next time, we're going to be looking at Kaladin's and Szeth's stories. So make sure to join us in chat for the live discussion on Monday, February 10th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time at 10:30 p.m. Eastern at www.youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. Until then, on behalf of Amy, Jordan, and myself, thanks for listening, and remember,
there's always another secret. Oh, my eyes are suddenly like watering.
Wow.
Ugh. I don't know if I just sweat into both of them at the same time or something.
Maybe you're going blind.
I could be. It's true.
It could be a tumor.
It's not a tumor. All right.
Everyone dies, you know.
Gang, we shall see y'all later. Thanks.